Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Exotic, and today I'm going to be doing something that I've never done before. A theory video. Now, before we get started, I just want to say, Undertale and Deltarune have been some of my favorite games of all time. And being able to make a theory video on Deltarune is just so awesome, and I'm super excited to share this video with you. Especially considering Chapter 5 is coming out in like a few days of recording this. Now, I don't know when the video is actually going to drop because Chapter 5 releases on June 24th and it's currently June 20th today as recording this video. But I want to try and drop it before Chapter 5 so that at least people can watch the theory, and if I'm wrong then oh well. But I just wanted to make this because of the new chapter, and I've been seeing a few things and I kind of wanted to piece together some evidence and other people's theories that I've seen online and try to make this perfect picture, so to speak. But I don't want to drag this intro on for too much longer, so without further ado, let's dive into the Kris tree theory. Now, before we get started with this theory, I just wanted to go over one of the big plot points of this theory being the chapters and their eggs. Now, throughout the 4 chapters of Deltarune, we the player are able to collect an egg for each chapter. And each time we collect an egg, there always seems to be a man and a tree involved with it. Specifically, the man being called the Forgotten Man, which a lot of people tend to call him because throughout his dialogue, he tends to speak about how not only other people, but also Kris forgetting him. And that will come into play later on in the theory. But specifically, I wanted to talk about the 4th egg encounter for Chapter 4, where we find ourselves in a hospital, with Kris going into one of the hospital rooms, but our view as the player is obstructed by a black screen, which is an important detail for later. And for these egg rooms, they're not just places where standard Deltarune player would find accidentally. No, you have to specifically find these rooms through different means. For example, Chapter 1 and 2, you have to find a certain room and go in between that and a different room until you eventually get transported to the egg room. And Chapter 3 and 4 have different quest lines you have to do to be able to get to the chapter's egg room, but as I said before, you're not going to accidentally do that. You have to actively seek it out. But anyway, now that we know what the eggs are and how to get them, now I want to talk about how the eggs actually connect with Kris and Deltarune as a whole. The areas to get to the eggs always seem to be in a suppressed place, hinting at their true intention and origin. As I said, each place seems to be in a suppressed area of the Dark World. Now, each time we encounter the Forgotten Man in the tree, we never actually see what's behind them and what they actually are. Especially during the Chapter 4 egg, which, as I talked about, was in the hospital, but the game describes while Kris is in the blocked off area as them drawing what they see behind the tree and eventually making it a giant blob by drawing it so much and just messing the drawing up. I believe this little detail and how there's always a tree and a man is Toby trying to show us that the tree itself and the man hold major importance to Kris as a character. Now, I won't take credit for this since not only did a lot of people already say and theorize about this, but I'm also, like I said at the intro of the video, piecing together a lot of different already said theories and evidence to make the complete image. As a lot of people have already theorized about this with the tree and the man. But I believe the tree is an important part of Kris as a character and their past. Specifically, what's behind the tree, which I believe behind the tree is supposed to represent something that happened to Kris, specifically a traumatizing event that caused them to begin suppressing this memory. Kind of talking about therapy and whatnot. This is another theory that many people have talked about, but specifically, the man behind the tree is supposed to represent a therapist, possibly one that Kris is seeing or actively seeing now, and is trying to dig up this trauma to help Kris heal from it. And like I said, other people have already theorized about this, but I want to use this theory to basically bridge to what my overall goal of this theory is, which I'll talk about later. But you might be asking, what's so significant about the eggs? Why is the Forgotten Man giving Kris the eggs? If he's a therapist, what do the eggs signify? Well, this is what they signify: rebirth and or a new beginning. Now, I did some digging because I knew I wanted to have some information and evidence behind what the eggs represent. And I found that a lot of cultures describe eggs as a representation of the birth of new life and or beginning. I believe this is what the eggs are supposed to represent in Deltarune. The Forgotten Man / the therapist is giving Kris the eggs to signify a new beginning for Kris. One where they heal from the past traumas from the tree and live a new life free from its torment. With each passing egg, the more of Kris' trauma is revealed. As I said, chapter 1 and 2's eggs don't really reveal that much, other than that we learn that something behind the tree is being suppressed by Kris, and Kris is forgetting this forgotten man, aka possibly Kris' therapist. And I believe that when we get the chapter 5 egg, which a lot of people have theorized is the last egg that we are going to be able to get, it will not only reveal the truth of what's behind the tree, but also it will have Kris finally accepting what happened and moving on, starting a new beginning, which is why each time they get the eggs, it leads them more and more to being able to finally let go of the trauma and being able to move on from it. Now that we know what the tree and the man signify, let's discuss what exactly is behind the tree. We know that whatever is behind the tree, it was immensely traumatizing and left a lasting impact on Kris. So, what could it be? Friend. We know from the prophecy that the tale of hell is somehow related to this mysterious cat figure known as Friend. The prophecy also shows us a place called Roots, with 2 trees and a house. Possibly a doghouse, but we don't really know for sure. We also know the tale of hell is responsible for leading children into the forest through one of the Dark World NPCs in chapter 4. Now, what does Friend, the tale of hell, and Roots have to do with the Kris and the tree theory? Roots, by definition, is the foundational part of something that provides support, origin, and nourishment. This double meaning both for trees having roots and roots meaning the beginning of something all boils down to the tree being the beginning of Kris' trauma. And because Roots has major connections to the tale of hell and by extensions Friend, I believe Friend / the tale of hell lives in or around this tree in hometown because of the Roots prophecy showing trees and a home, signifying that Friend lives there, which also explains the connections of all 3 of these. And we know that, yes, the tale of hell is most likely Friend due to a bunch of different evidence that I don't really want to go into in this video. So, anyway, and since we know the story of having the tale of hell lead children away, it was most likely in the hometown forest. Strange, right? If this tree is in hometown, and this tree caused Kris' trauma, but we also know that Friend / the tale of hell led children away to this presumed tree, why do we not know of any missing children in hometown? Oh my god. Des. We know from a description of Clover that she likes sports, cute boys, and trees, but does this sound familiar? Who else do we know that possibly likes sports and cute boys as well? Des. We know that from when we go to chapter 4 and we see Des' room, there's a lot of things that hint towards this description of Clover actually also matching Des. Could this be a hint towards Des having connection to the tree and Friend? Because Clover and Des have this weird similarity with this piece of dialogue. And I believe it also is talking about Des.
Oh my god! December! December!
Now, time to go over basically what I've been trying to explain this entire theory. The traumatic event. Kris and Des were the children that were led away by Friend, aka the tale of hell, and something happened to Des, resulting in not only them going missing and or being killed, but also traumatizing Kris, resulting in them suppressing this memory. This may also explain why Kris is working with the Knight / Carol, because they feel guilty for what happened and believe they have to help with the Knight and Carol's plan. Throughout the 4 chapters so far, the player helps Kris reflect on this trauma and heal through the Forgotten Man and the eggs. That's why the tree is always present in all of these egg encounters, because it's where everything began. Roots. I think chapter 5's egg is not only going to reveal the secrets, but also lead to possibly a Friend boss fight. Maybe being a separate boss fight than the actual secret boss that gives you the shadow crystal of that chapter. Maybe not. Or this entire theory is wrong, and Kris never faces their trauma, and never ends the tournament by defeating friend because it doesn't exist. But who knows for sure. Thank you so much for watching. Now, I just want to say, I'm not really the best with this kind of stuff, so sorry if this theory is like all over the place with its analysis and evidence. This all stemmed from a video I saw on Twitter that kind of opened my eyes to all these connections to the egg and friend. And like I said, I just really wanted to make this video, and it's not really the most polished video of all time. There's a lot of things that I feel like people might be able to discredit and stuff like that. So if you have anything you'd like to say about that, please leave it in the comments. I would be open to making a sequel to this video, or maybe a debunking whenever Chapter 5 drops, so that, you know, because I guarantee you all of this is probably going to be wrong, but I just thought it'd be cool to make this kind of comparison by also branching a lot of other people's theories into kind of one complete picture about Kris's trauma, Kris having therapy sessions through the eggs, through this kind of rebirth, possibly leading to Roots being the tree that caused everything, with Friend being there, Kris fighting Friend, getting the last egg, and finally being able to move past this part of their life. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, if you want to see more Deltarune content, I actually had a video idea that relates to Spamton, but it isn't a theory, it's something else. So if you really want to see that video, then go ahead and comment down below that, hey, I want to see this video, I think it'd be super cool. So, anyway, I just want to thank you again for watching. I'm really excited for Chapter 5, so I will see you all when that drops. And if you want a Deltarune Chapter 5 playthrough, I might do it. Who knows? We'll see. But hope you enjoyed, and have a good day.